Hello everyone, Cheryl Ann here. I thought this morning I'd share with you my two reading logs. I couldn't find these two, so I started a 2024 one, and I grabbed a mixed media one instead of the watercolor. The watercolor is 140 pounds, and if you're going to do anything with water, like paint or pastels or it's better to use watercolor than mixed media, as I'm finding out. So this is one I started with a gal that bought several of my journals, and we would read a book and then do a page and ship it to the other one, and so we each had an opportunity to be introduced to some books that maybe we wasn't in our favorite genre. My favorite genre, of course, is historical fiction, being a historian. And this is White Rose, Black Forest, which takes place in the Black Forest of Germany. And it's about a French nurse who finds a downed pilot wearing the Luftwaffe uniform, but he speaks English, and so she doesn't know what to think. It's about, it's Alsace. It's a spy novel, and I really liked it. I enjoyed it. Apparently, I didn't write down the author. I did have a notebook that I wrote down quotes and things in it, so I did type some of those up and put it there. And then I found this picture that looked like that area of Germany. My German ancestors were from Alsace and Bavaria. And they settled in Pennsylvania because it looked so much like their home. So she finds this stranger, and she is a nurse, so she does want to take care of him, but she's a little concerned because he's blabbing away incoherently, in English. And she's surrounded by Germans. So it's about how she nurses him back to health. She saves him, and then I'm not going to tell you how it ends. You got to read the book. White Rose, Black Forest. And then my friend did this page, Gift from the Sea, and Moral Lindbergh. She did just a beautiful job. I mean, I can't compete with that. And then I did River of the Gods. It's about the search for the source of the Nile, the White Nile, by two they were buddies, Grant and Speke. They were buddies until they weren't buddies. Then it got a little hairy. And I found some photos on Pixabay that went with it. I mean, it was not easy. And then I wrote up my little summary here, but it was a fascinating book, River of the Gods. And it's written by a woman. Genius, courage, and betrayal in the search for the source of the Nile. Just fascinating. I still have that book. There are certain books that I can't give up, and that's one of them. That would be, for me, that would be a 5-star. I really loved it. Here's a map of ancient map of Africa. And I believe, I could be corrected, but I believe to this day, people are not certain if Lake Victoria, which was called, it's on one of the maps. Here, where is it now? It's in my other book. It had another name, and Grant named it Lake Victoria. So the largest lake gives way to the longest river, although I think there's some dispute even today about the absolute certain source of the Nile. And then I shipped her mine, and she did this one. Very pretty. And then and then after that, I did The Winemaker's Wife by Kristen Harmel. Oh, I love this book. And again, I have a background in wine. My husband was a wine broker for about 10 years. And of course, he knows all these regions, and I'm just a complete idiot until I read this book. And I read the book and found out that Champagne, if it's labeled Champagne, it can only be from the Champagne region. It can't be from any other region. So anything not from Champagne is sparkling wine. There's Alsace. I have ancestors from Alsace. And so I did some little grapes, and I did the map, and I did my summary here. I think this is in the other book too that I'm going to show you. So wait till then. And then after that, we kind of petered out and we quit. So that was the end of that book. So then I decided, well, I really like this, and I like being able to go back and read. So I started one of my own. This is for 2023, and I decided this book was my best book of 2023. It's called The Bookwoman of Troublesome Creek. And this takes place in Kentucky, and Troublesome Creek is the name of her little village. And it's after the Great Depression, and people are getting back to work. So she goes to work as a librarian, and she has a mule, and she takes books to people along her route. And she also makes journals with recipes and patterns, and she cuts up newspapers and has, news articles in them. And I, as a journal maker myself, I was just fascinated. I said, what a wonderful book this was. And she encounters prejudice herself, even though she's white. Her skin has a blue tinge. It's some kind of a genetic thing that's passed on, and she's discriminated against. And so it's her story. There is a sequel called The Bookwoman's Daughter, which I have not read yet. Then I read the Book of Lost Names, which I just adored. It's about, it takes place in two time periods, World War II and 2005. 2005, a woman finds the book, and it's a really old, you can see here, it's a really old book. I think it's from the 1600s, yeah. And it's like a church prayer book, but she's not Jewish, but she changes the names of the Jewish children that come through on their way with the network to Switzerland. She gives them each a code name, and then she writes their code name in the book. So if the Nazis had gotten hold of the book, would have been the end of her and the children that they were able to, they would be able to save. So I gave that one 4.5 stars. And then I read another book by her called The Forest of Vanishing Stars. And it's a historical fiction account of hiding Jews in forests in Belarus during World War II. And the movie Defiance is based on one such group. Look at that. Beautiful forest. But the girl knew how to survive and hunt and live in the forest. And so she's able to save almost a whole village of people. I love books with really strong female characters. Then, oh, here's the River of the Gods. Yes, and there's Lake Victoria, but there's two other lakes, Lake Tanganyika, and then this one is Nyasa. So they all kind of feed into the Nile. So I wrote it up here. Already talked about that one. I gave it 5 stars. And then this one was called These Silent Woods. And it's about a father and his daughter who live in a cabin in the woods, and they only go to town once a year. And his sister once a year comes to visit. One year she doesn't come with, she comes to visit with supplies, and one year she doesn't come, and so he has to go into town and find out why. And then you find out why the father and the daughter are living in the woods far away from civilization. So that was good. And then here's The Winemaker's Wife. I already talked about that one. Yeah, I learned a lot about the region and how to make wine, and why they rotate the champagne bottles. And I wanted to get away from World War II, so I read Daisy Jones and the Six, which I just loved it. 4 stars. I just loved it. It's about it's loosely about Stevie Nicks. So if you want kind of a light romp, this would be a good one. Then another light book was Massacre Pond. And I like that one. And then I had this other book about Stevie Nicks, which was just awful. I said, not worth doing a page. That's generous. I said, what a horrible book, waste of money, blah, blah, blah. He never interviewed her, and everything in the book is it's all hearsay. It's all secondhand. And then I read The Bone Orchard. So I picked it up after reading an extremely disappointing one, but I really liked this one. It was good. It's kind of a mystery, whodunit. And then I read, I got hooked on this series by Alice Henderson. This was book 1, A Solitude of Wolverines, then A Blizzard of Polar Bears, and A Ghost of Caribou. Her main character is a biologist, and she travels around to different areas. So you have wolves, I think was Michigan. I don't remember where that one was. And by the time I got to the 3rd one, I was just so fed up. You know, she's got some man that has to bail her out of everything. And I thought, no, I want a strong woman. I don't want some woman that has to rely on some man. And then I read One for the Blackbird, One for the Crow, which I just loved. Loved it. 2 families alone without husbands. One shot the other one. And the 2 wives, they each have children, and they have to get together in order to survive. And it's one for the blackbird, one for the crow, one for the cutworm, and one to grow. So when they plant their crops, they have to put 4 seeds into each hole, and that gets real expensive. And then I read, this is September, I read, this at the time was the latest book by Preston and Child, Douglas Preston and Lincoln Child. And I love these, not the ones about the detective Pendergast. I don't care for those at all. But this is Nora's the archaeologist, and Corey is the young FBI agent, and they have to solve a mystery. This is actually based on a true incident that happened in the Ural Mountains that Douglas Preston writes about in his new book about tombs and graves. And I have that one. I ordered it from Amazon. But a whole bunch of young scientists are together, and there's a blizzard, and people find bodies scattered all over, and they can't explain why they died. And it's up to the 2 female characters to figure out what happened. So it's a real whodunit. But again, I said hopefully their next book will be better. It was just kind of okay. Let's go back. I don't know. I think sometimes writers get in a rut, and I think maybe they need to refocus. That's all I'm gonna say about that. And I think that was. Oh no! Then I did Kate Quinn, The Huntress. Oh my God, I love this. This is about a Russian World War II female pilot. Yes, they had female pilots. The Germans called them night witches. And this German spy, the Jaguar, the Huntress, had killed in cold blood her brother and some of the villagers from their village. And the two of them are, well, the Russian goes to hunt the German, and it's most of her lifetime. And when the two of them finally meets, I'm not going to tell you how it ends. Only one will survive. So I wrote, who is the hunter and who is the prey? So that's what I'm doing now. I did start a new one for 2024 because silly me, I put these in a safe spot and then I forgot where the safe spot was. And I have 2 books that I'm working on right now for pages that are done. So when I get those 2 done, I might give you a little peek. But that's how I keep track of what I read. And I go on Goodreads, and sometimes I'll type up my thoughts. I don't usually do summaries because so many people do summaries. I get more into my thoughts and the writing. And so I am on Goodreads if you want to find me there. So anyway, I've wasted too much time here as it is, and I need to get to work on my 2024 reading log. So until next time, let me know your thoughts, and bye for now.